everybody, it's Em, and welcome to today's video. Today we're finally starting that project I talked about way back in the first one, which was the seam sampler. I'm going to be teaching you guys 3 different seams. The French seam, the flat fell seam, and the tailored edge. This is actually what we're going to be working on today. So things you're going to need for today. You're going to need your fabric, which should be cotton. If it's not cotton, don't worry about it, but cotton's the easiest to work with for this. Don't go out and spend a bunch of money on it. You can use an old bed sheet if you want to. So you need your fabric, you need your fabric scissors, you need your ruler device. This one is a quilting ruler. It has a grid pattern on it. I highly suggest getting something like this because you could very easily square off your lines in future projects with it. You need your iron, and you need your ironing board. That's basically it for miscellaneous things you need. You also need your sewing machine and thread. That's that. So without further ado, let me introduce you to my sewing machine. Okay, so this is my machine. It is a Pfaff 360. It's old. They don't really sell these anymore brand new because they just don't. So let me just give you guys a quick introduction to the sewing machine. You have the body of the machine. This is where the fabric goes. This is the needle. Don't put your fingers there. Like, my machine is off right now, so I'm just showing you. This is the needle. Do not ever put your fingers on near here when you're sewing. You'll see how to do it. This is the machine foot. But this is the wheel thing that turns to, I forgot the actual name, it's the spinning wheel of doom. This is what makes the needle go up and down by hand. This is your zigzaggy stitch thing, zigzaggy stitch. This controls how much of a zigzag your stitch is, and if you depress this lever, that makes your, this makes your needle move. It can go down one. No, sorry. This moves it over. This one moves the needle over and locks it into place. This right here, this is the reverse. This moves the feed dog, so that way your fabric either travels forwards, which is just normal, or backwards. This right here, this is your stitch length. This controls the length of the stitch. This right there, this one, I don't ever really use this lever, but this drops the feed dogs, which means the fabric won't move unless you move it. I leave that alone. This is the power button. You can tell it's on when the light's on. Leaving it off for now. This is where the bobbin gets wound up here. We'll do a video on that. Specifically, this is the tension wheel. This is kind of tricky. This is what controls the tightness of the stitch and whether or not it's going to look nice or look the way it's supposed to or unravel or just... Basically, you want to have even tension, which you'll learn on your machine. Every machine is different. And then down here is where the bobbin is. So this opens. This is the bobbin case that I'm pulling out right now with one hand. Not the best thing in the world. This is a bobbin case. This matches your machine. It snaps into place. You don't want to mix bobbin cases. This is a bobbin. Bobbins are also pretty exclusive to machines. Like, I can't take the bobbins I'm using for the school machines and use them at home because they're slightly different sizes. So, to thread the machine, which is step 1 of anything with sewing, really, when you're using a machine, you put the bobbin in the bobbin case. So, the bobbin case, basically the thread has to travel. There's a line over here. Hoping you guys can see that clearly. There's a line, and you grab your thread, which is coming from the bobbin, and you pull the thread through that line, and then under this piece that's attached over there, like so, and you kind of pull it, grab it under, and there's a little hole spot that it comes out of, right there, and then that's done. That's threaded. You pop it into the machine. There's like a hole down there. See? There's a hole. Not a hole. It's kind of like a thing that sticks out. And there's a hole in the middle of the bobbin, and that matches up. This flappy thing right here always points towards the body of your home machine, depending on the machine. On my machine, it always points towards it. And when you put it in, you hear a click. Once it clicks, it's in, you're done. You want to leave this open for now, though, because you need that open because you want to make sure this doesn't get caught in it. So to thread the rest of the machine, what you need to do is, alright, so the upper part of threading the machine is the more confusing part. I could do this in my sleep at this point because I've been doing it for so long, but it's confusing when you first start out. So you have your thread, and it goes on either one of these two top things, down, and I always like to snip the edge of my thread so that way I have a clear start. All machines are basically threaded the same way, so you just follow the loopy spots. So my machine, what you do is you put it through one of these two loops, and then it goes around the tension thing. But you have to make sure it clicks between the tension discs, which you'll see when you look at your own machine. Behind the tension wheel, there's two disc things. It's kind of like two donuts stuck like that. And you just make sure the thread gets caught between them, otherwise the tension is not going to work. I've broken my machine before because I didn't have it threaded properly, and I thought the tension was off, so I over-tightened the tension. That was a really, really stupid move on my part. So after you have it through the tension discs, you put it through this one up here. That's the one that actually moves, see? Yeah. So that goes through the hole. And then there's a hole right over there, like a loop goes through the loop. And usually you could press it around, wiggle the thread in. And then down here, there's a loop that it goes through. And then the machine part is done. But you have to get it through the needle. So there's another loop on the part that goes up and down that you pull it through. And then the needle. Home machines, hello there. Home machines thread from front to back. So poke the thread through the hole. And sometimes this takes a while because it's a small hole. So after you have your top thread and your bottom thread threaded, the last step is to hold the top thread, the edge of the top thread, and turn the rotating wheel and pull the bottom thread up and pull it through. And once you pull that bottom thread through, close the bottom compartment. I like to put this plate thing back up because it gives you a bigger space to work on, and then you're done. Your machine is threaded. You can turn it on now.